Sorry, delayed 10 minutes delayed, or is it right time?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Students, shall we move to the next unit? Yes. That is yes, we see the next unit, drama, The Rivals by Sheridan. This is our last topic, unit 4. Of course, we'll get that time. Tomorrow, if anybody doesn't take time, period, I will take the class. Sharda madam called me and she asked me to take the class. If nobody comes, just call me just before an hour before the class. Students, are you with me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. What I told you, if anybody doesn't take the class tomorrow, I will take the class and will teach you the remaining topics of paper 1. If anybody doesn't come, right? If anybody misses. I came to know that today morning hour, nobody has taken the morning hour, right? R.B. Sheridan. In full name, Richard Brinsley Butler Sheridan was Irish playwright and a political leader of Whig Party. Whigs and the Tories are the two important political parties, and he was Whig Party leader. He wrote great number of plays, works. Among them, The School for Scandal, which is the best example for the comedy of manners. Yes, Sheridan had been a close companion to Jonathan Swift. And coming to his personal life, his marriage turned to the theatre for livelihood, then started writing of the works. He wrote many works. Among them, we will see some of the important works. The Rivals, School for Scandal, and The Critic, St. Patrick Day, The Diana, Figaro, and other works. And continued adapt plays to improve spectacle shows at the drama. And talking about his political activities, he was a strong supporter to the Whig Party, and the famous duels, Sheridan fought 2 duels with Matthews, which made a considerable sensation of the times. The Rivals, the present play The Rivals, was published in the year 1775. Yes. It was written in London, and this period was called Comedy of Manners. Of course, the Revels was named, it comes under category of comedy. There are number of characters we find in this. Just roughly, I want to give an overview of the characters of the present work. You can look at the present characters. Yes. Before that, I must tell you Comedy of Manners. Comedy of Manners is something, a group of English dramatists who wrote after the restoration of Charles II to the English throne. Among them, William Congreve was the father of Comedy of Manners. Sheridan's work, The Rivals, is also Rose's laugher, creates comic interest among the readers so that it can be treated as Comedy of Manners category. Knowing the characters, important characters, Captain Jock, Abosalate, Ensign Beverly, a confident, charming and a quick-witted captain in the army of British. And Abosalate is wooing the beautiful Lydia Languish, and he tricks Lydia into believing that his poor ensign named Beverly. Captain Jock, another name is Beverly in this work, who was a confident and a charming captain. Lydia Languish, a girl of 17. Yes. And also, sometimes she maintains relations with Captain Jock Abosalate. Mrs. Malprop or Delia. Mrs. Malprop, very important, funny character in this. Lydia Languish aunt and a guardian. Mrs. Malprop is wife of Mr. Malprop. Her name was also Delia. Self-important woman. She is around 50 in the work. I can say she creates humorous comedic heroine of the play. Sir Anthony Absolute, a rich baronet. Yes. And he wants to give security to his son Absolute. Julia is a sensible and a beautiful girl. She is an orphan in this. She is the ward of Sir Anthony. And also we see Parkland, a young man who appears as a moody and lovesick man. Square Bob, another character, landowner of the country, and is more fashionable and sophisticated in order to win over the affections of Lydia. Sir Lucius O'Trigger, an Irish baronet. Sir Lucius is carrying on a secret correspondence with Delia. So we know Lucy, a maid in the household of Mr. and Mrs. Malthrope, and Lydia. Lucy is different, Lydia is different. Lucy is a maid servant. Lucy is a master manipulator and charged with taking letters between different pairs. And David is a servant to Achilles, and he lives with Achilles and is given importance by their family. Minor characters like Fag, Thomas, and all. This is something about the characterization, the important characters of this. The very preface of the Rivals begins with two servants, Fag and Thomas, run into one another on the streets of Bath. The beginning of the play goes like this, and the information that I have given here is just analysis which is taken from the third person point of view. You can look at the course book which we have as part of your academic studies. Yes, look at the page number 124. Just have a look on page number 124. In 1775, his first play, The Rivals, was produced at London Covent Garden Theatre. It was a failure on its first night. It was roundly vilified by both the public and the critics for its length, for its badness, and for the character of Sir Lucius O'Trigger. Being a meanly written role played very badly, Sheridan immediately withdrew the play in the next 11 days, rewrote the original extensively, including a new preface in which he wrote. Look at these lines. For my own part, I see no reason why the author of the play should not regard the first night's audience as a candid and judicious friend attending in behalf of the public. It is last rehearsal. If we can dispense with the flattery, he is sure at least of sincerity, and even though the annotation be rude, he may rely upon the justness of the comment. This is the beginning comment of the play. Yes. Now we can move to the central summary of Rivals. Yes. Rivals was Sheridan's first play. Yes. Page number 130. I'm talking about page number 130, lesson number 2. In this, we will find a lot of discussion about the Rivals. Fact-wise summary, first and second prologue, and the characterization into 5 acts. Act 1 2, 3, 4, and 5 acts. And characters: Captain Jock, Lydia Languish, Falkland, Julia Melville, and Bob Akers, Sir Lucius Trigger, Lucy, Anthony Abusalid, Malpro. These are the important characters which we have as part of our discussion. First we look at the characters, then we move to the central idea of the play. You can open page number 134. In this we will find the characters. Yes, because a question may be asked on any character. Most of the times a short question on Captain Jock character, Lydia Languish, Falkland, and also Julia Melville. These are the 4 characters. Sometimes, rarely, very rarely, Lucy character also very important for the examinations. Captain Jock and Lydia are most important characters for your examination. Okay, the question, you may see the question. Write a short note on Captain Jock. A captain in the army. Can you read it out? Any one of you? Take a chance of reading, please.
Captain in the army, now in Bath to whom Lydia Languish in the goose of Ensign Beverly, a half-pay officer.
Stop. Please stop. Captain in the army, okay. Where is now? Now in
Bath.
Bath. What woo? W-O-O means what? Woo. Wooing. What do you mean by woo?
Who? W-H-O?
No, the first line itself.
Captain.
The first line itself, any one of you? First line itself you find the word. Some of you are not looking at. Ooh. What is ooh? Try to gain love. Try to love somebody. Loving. Ooing అంటే loving అని అర్థం. Meaning కూడా ఎవరు చూడట్లేదు అసలు. Try to understand the meaning of ooh. Ooh means something to love or try to gain the love of somebody, especially to get married with them. That is called ooh. Now, captain in the army in the town, in the place called Bath. Why he was in that place? He was in that place to love Lydia Languish, not with his original name, in the guise of Ensign Beverly, a half-pay officer. Yes, now we move. Yeah, continue please.
Jack is the young lover who displays simple common sense.
Yes, Captain, Jock, Abusalid, Ensign, Beverly, these are the names of one character only. Yes, one time we take the word captain, other time we take the word Jock. This Jock is young lover who has simple common sense. Let's continue because
he loves Lydia.
Yes.
He is willing to cater to her via romantic notions. He pretends to be the penniless Ensign Beverly, but intends to marry her only under all proper auspices. He consents to Akers. He is tolerant of and laughs at Falkland. He has courage, but is sensible in manifestation of bravado, such as duels. He will, if he must. He does not choose to. He is at a disadvantage when his initial masquerade forces him into a double masquerade. He is at a disadvantage when his initial masquerade forces him into a double masquerade, and Sheridan intends him to look foolish. He also looks very humanly silly in the scene with his father. Sheridan obviously intends to show that Captain Absolute is his father's son. When they meet, they both justify the family name. The same temper and impatience appear again in the discovery scene in the fourth act with Lydia.
Yes. Thus, Captain Jock's character can be introduced in this. He is always trying to win the favor of Lydia because he wants to make her to be romantic, and he pretends to be penniless ensign Beverly. Yes, he wants to act like that. He was a rich man, but he wants to pretend as a poor man in order to win the favor of Lydia. Now we see Lydia languish character. Yes, another people. Any one of you.
A young lady with an odd romantic notion, a niece and a words of Mrs. Malaprop. She
Mrs.
is,
Malaprop's niece. Lydia is a beautiful young lady and a niece of Mrs. Malaprop. Yeah.
she is in love with and loved by Captain Jack Absolute, whom she believes to be Ensign Braverly, a poor young officer.
Yes. In fact, unknowingly, she falls in love with Captain Jock. At that time, Lydia does not know that she loves a captain. She thinks that her lover is Ensign Beverly, a poor young officer. He is off-paid officer and
ఏంటంటే అతను గీతంలో చదువుకుంటాను అన్నాడు సార్. అక్కడ అది లాంగ్ అని చెప్పి నేను వద్దని చెప్పాను. సరే ఇక్కడ ఇక్కడ చూస్తామన్నారు. చూస్తే ఇంకా ఈ కాలేజ్ బెస్ట్ అని చెప్పి ఇక్కడ తీసుకొచ్చి నేను సర్చ్ చేశాను అనమాట.
What's going on there? Someone is taking the class, I think. Telugu class is going on.
ఇక్కడ జాయిన్ అయినాక కూడా పర్సంటేజ్ తక్కువ వచ్చిందనుకో మీ అమ్మకు నేను సమాధానం చెప్పాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఎందుకు వచ్చింది తక్కువ?
Telugu class is going on. What happened here?
సార్ అప్పుడేందుకు చదవలేదు, ఇంపార్టెంట్ చదవకపోతే నేను సర్టిఫై చేసే బాధ్యత నాది. ఆ సంగతి తెలియదు.
Through Lydia Sheridan satirizes
బాధ్యత నాది.
the supra.
ఇప్పుడు ఎందుకు చదవాలి?
Hello, who is there?
ఇప్పుడు నేను జాగ్రత్తలు
Please.
తీసుకుంటాను.
You can mute him, sir.
ఇర్రెగ్యులర్ టు ద కాలేజ్ సార్.
దేనికి
Who is this?
ఫ్రెండ్ సర్కిల్ ఇర్రెగ్యులర్ కాలేజ్.
Please ask her. Who is she?
It's Holy Mary Degree College, sir. You can mute from your side, sir.
You can mute from your side, sir. You can.
మీ అబ్బాయిని
Or you can mute him by your side.
Can I mute this Holy Mary Degree
You can
College?
also mute it, sir.
Yes, sir, you can mute sir.
మీకు ఫోన్లో ఆఫీస్ నుంచి
Yeah. To Lydia Sheridan satirizes the superficial sentimentality. Can you read it out? Please read it out.
That occurred in some contemporary plays. Lydia does not want a proper marriage but wishes to elope with a poor man.
Please make it underline. It is very interesting. Look, Lydia does not want a proper marriage, but wishes to elope with a poor man. Yes. Let's continue.
The insincere nature of her sentiments
Insincere nature of her sentiments becomes all the more apparent when a sincere character like Julia reveals to the audience what true virtue is. One wants to get married in a traditional way. Another does not have the proper idea of getting married. She wants to elope. A good example is giving reproof to bad behavior. Jock feels that he is by no means certain that she would take with impediment of friends, consent, a regular humdrum wedding, and the reversion of a good fortune. Okay, Lydia's intentions are very clear. She does not have the right opinion on these type of marriages. She deliberately instigates a quarrel just for the pleasure of making up afterward, because lovers always quarrel in sentimental novels, and making up could be so much fun. When she discovers that there will be no elopement, she is sullen and quite prepared to break off her engagement. This is the character, and this is the story from Lydia's point of view. Now we move to the third character in this work, Falkland. Yes, read it.
A friend of Captain Jack, Absolute, and the suitor of Julia. Sentimental drama contains characters who dissect relationships with other people excessively, who question motives and probe agonizingly the subconscious. Falkland displays an interesting combination of these sentimental characteristics filtered through a personality trait that could in itself be comic. He is intensely suspicious. He suspects Julia's motives, not so much because he believes she is lying to him, but rather because he feels she is lying to herself. Since he thinks of himself as a very ordinary young man, he cannot understand that Julia can be genuinely in love with him, because his idea of love is completely unrealistic. His suspicious.
Again. Since he thinks of himself as very ordinary young man, he cannot understand that Julia can be genuinely in love with him, because his idea of love is completely, underlined, his idea of love is completely, make it underline, unrealistic, is suspicious, and self-denigration, make him doubt or love if she can take pleasure in any of the normal pastimes of a young man, such as company, conversation, or maybe dancing. Every scene in which Falkland appears is designed to highlight his ruling passion. That way, Falkland's character as a friend of Captain Jack and the suitor of Julia. Yes. Through his character, we can understand some of the important things of sentimental drama. Sentimental drama is a drama in which we find the dissect relationship with other people. Yes, that is why Falkland's character is much more useful to understand the norms of sentimental drama. Then we move to, we have seen four important: Captain Jack versus Lydia, Captain Jack love with Lydia, Falkland love with Julia. Now Julia Melville. Yes, can you read out Julia?
A ward of Sir Anthony Absolute and a friend of Lydia. She is loved by and loves Falkland. Before her father died,
please make an line. She is loved by and loves Falkland. Before her father died,
he betrothed Julia to Falkland. She loves him. She loves him, even though he is impossible. When he hurts her, she never tells anyone the reason for her sadness and defends him when others criticize him. The core of her character is indicated by her first speech to Lydia, Act 1, Scene 2. I have learned to...
Please make it underline. Yes, please make it underline. The core of her character is indicated by her first speech to Lydia. The entire character of Julia can be noticed in her first speech. Act 1, Scene 2, we will find this speech. What is her speech? Can you read it out? I have learned to think myself.
I have learned to think myself his debtor for those imperfections which arise from the order of his attachment. The basic approach is sentimental. Although she never becomes the completely lachrymose heroine, she is closest to the characters whose trials and tribulations arouse our sympathy.
Yes, she is closest to the characters whose trials and tribulations arouse our sympathy. and another character, Bob Eckers. Yes, any one of you. Others may take part. Please study the characters, then it is easy to us look at the central idea. Bob Eckers. A neighbor of
Sir Anthony Absolute.
Please make it in mind. A neighbor of Sir Anthony Absolute and an old friend of
Captain Jack Absolute. His suit of Lydia has the blessing of Mrs. Malaprop at the beginning of the play. He knows his rival is Ensign Beverly, but does not know that the ensign is actually his old friend. As the name implies, Acres is a variation on the bumpkin trying to become a city beau. He is an awkward and good-natured, trying to sound like a dandy. He has developed an odd kind of a new method of swearing. He has taken dancing lessons, but somehow his country clodhoppers do not lend themselves to 18th century terpsichore. He tries to dress in the latest fashion, but he always manages to look like what he is. Yes. Bob Eckers, a neighbor of Sir Anthony Absolute and an old friend of Captain Jock Absolute. And before the truth comes, he doesn't know that she was loved by the captain. He thinks that this man, because captain was under the disguise of Ensign Beverly. He thought that Beverly is different, captain is different. Later he came to know both are the same. Then Sir Lucius O'Trigger. Yes, another character, Sir Lucius O'Trigger.
Sir Lucius O'Trigger, an Irish gentleman and an unsuccessful fortune hunter who woos Lydia by letter. He feels...
Yes, here Lydia is the central character. Many characters, they fall in love with Lydia knowingly, unknowingly. Yes. What he feels? He feels that
He feels that a fortune is even more attractive when attached to a pretty wife. Again, the name reveals the character. The stage Irishman was a stock comic figure.
This strange Irishman was a comic figure. Yes. In this we will find the comic things in his character. Yes.
As a swashbuckling fortune hunter, Sir Lucius also resembles the traditional braggart soldier that he is not a coward. He is willing to risk his life to make his fortune. He also has an eye for a pretty woman, so he is not prepared to marry Mrs. Malaprop for her money, a touch of kindness to the character on Sheridan's part.
Yes. So, Sir Lucius O'Trigger and his portion in this work, like how he was an unsuccessful fortune hunter because he loves Lydia but not successful. Then Captain Lucy,
Lydia's maid. Lucy is a scheming extortionist. She gets money from Captain Absolute for carrying messages to Lydia. Then she receives money from Mrs. Malaprop when she exposes their clandestine romance. Acres also pays Lucy for delivering letters to Lydia, but she never delivers them. She also receives money by carrying messages between Sir Lucius and Mrs. Malaprop. It is due to her deceit that Sir Lucius thinks that he is writing to Lydia. Mrs. Malaprop does not know about Lucy's deceit and thinks that Sir Lucius is in love with her.
Yeah. Okay. Sir Anthony Absolute and Mrs. Malaprop and other characters. We have Sir Anthony Absolute is a member of landed gentry, who is father of Captain Jock Absolute, and Mrs. Malaprop, a middle-aged widow, aunt of Lydia, and he was also comic figure. These are some of the important characters which we see in this work. I will repeat the characters. Sir Anthony Absolute, a wealthy baronet. Captain Jock Absolute, his son. Falkland, friend of Jock Absolute. Bob Eckers, friend of Jock Absolute. Sir Lucius O'Trigger, an Irish baronet. Fag, F-A-G, Fag, Captain Absolute servant. David, Bob Ecker's servant. Thomas, Sir Anthony's servant. Lydia Languish, a wealthy teenaged girl who loves Ensign Beverly. Mrs. Malprove, Lydia's middle-aged guardian. Julia Melville, a young relation of the Absolutes in love with Falkland. Lucy, who is Lucy? Lydia's maid. Are you clear with the characters?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will ask the questions. Just give the response. How did you understand? Sir Anthony Absolute. Who is he?
Father of Captain Jack Absolute.
A wealthy baronet. And father of Captain Jack Absolute. Captain Jack Absolute, who is he? Son of
Sir Anthony Absolute.
Absolute. And disguised as?
Captain Army.
Yeah, disguised as?
Ensign Beverly.
Beverly. Yes. Falkland.
Friend of Captain.
He was the friend of Captain Jack.
Yes. And who is Bob Eckers?
Curious, sir.
Yes, who is Bob Eckers?
Neighbor of Sir Anthony Absolute.
An old friend.
Yes. You must have the proper understanding of the characters. Otherwise, the story may be confusing to you. I think you have understood all the characters, so you can see the names of the characters on the screen also. For you, I have briefed this also. Now you can look at the screen. Are you looking at the screen? Are you able to see the screen?
No, sir. Nothing is.
Why?
No, sir.
Yeah, camera may be off, sir.
No, camera has not stopped.
No, sir, nothing is visible.
Nothing is visible. Really?
Now it's visible, sir.
Now it's visible.
What is visible now?
Characters.
Yes, can read it out now. If you do not have this shortcut character, you take a pic of or screenshot of the characters. One.
No, sir. No,
One.
sir.
Sir Anthony. Baronet, Captain Jock, his son, Falkland, friend of Jock Absolute, Bob Eckers, friend of Jock Absolute, Sir Lucius Votrigger, an Irish baronet, Fag, Captain's absolute servant, David, Bob Eckers' servant, Thomas, Sir Anthony's servant. These are servants. Fag is servant, David is servant, Thomas is servant, Lydia Languish, a wealthy teenage girl, falls in love with Ensign Beverly. Mrs. Malprove, Lydia's guardian, middle-aged widow. Julia Melville, a young relation of the Absolute, who is in love with Falkland. Lucy, again, maid servant to Lydia. These are some of the important characters which we have in this, right? Did you get the point? Did you get the this important characters? Sir Anthony, Captain Jock Absolute, Falkland, Bob Eckers, Sir Lucius Votrigger, Fag, David, Thomas, Lydia Languish, Mrs. Malprove, Julia Melville, Lucy. These are some of the important characters which we see. Yes, if you understand these characters, then it is easy to us to understand the plot. Now we come to the plot. We will see how Rivals is very important. The Rivals is best example for comedy of manners. Yes. It was written in 5 acts. Are you able to see the screen now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
I have not showed you anything. I have not showed you anything. How did you see? How do you see?
Every 3 months, 18,000.
People are talking, non-serious people are coming.
That is all, sir. We don't know. We are not able to.
Spoiling the mood of the class. I do not know why people come to the class. The Rivals is a comedy of manners by R.B. Sheridan. It is written in 5 acts and it was published in 1775 and first time performed at Covent Garden Theatre. Yes, it was published first time at Covent Garden Theatre, which is one of the most important theatres of that time. Yes, I am trying to give you an overview of the central summary of the work. This story has been updated in many number of adaptations in 1935, again 1958, and this was telecasted like TV serials. And Sheridan's first play, in fact it is the first important play. At that time, he was living in Bath. B-A-T-H, Bath was the name of the place. Yes, I have already given you in the introductory part. And the Rivals, this play was performed at Covent Gardens in London, as already given you this also. What is the plot of the story? Yes, the play is set in Bath, town called Bath. It was the best example for 18th century manners, and it was like fashionable people at that time. That was the time fashionable people went to take waters which were believed to have healing the properties. That is why Rivals is the best example for comedy of manners. Yes, in literature we have comedy of humors and a comedy of manners. This is example for comedy of manners. The plot centers on the two young lovers. Of course, we have another couple also. Two young lovers, Lydia and Jock. Lydia, who reads a lot of popular novels of the time, wants to a purely romantic love affair. To quote her, Jock pretends to be as Ensign Beverly. Ensign Beverly means here a poor army officer. Lydia wants to create her own world after reading so many novels of the time. Jock likes her, but Captain Jock does not want to show his original things, his original position. He pretends like Ensign Beverly, a poor officer. Lydia is enthralled with the idea of eloping with a poor soldier in spite of the objections of her guardian, Mrs. Malprove. We know Mrs. Malprove was the guardian of Lydia. Lydia does not want to get the traditional marriage with Jock because she thinks that he is a poor soldier How can I get married with him? Nobody agrees. That is why she wants to elope with her, even without informing Mrs. Malprove, a widow, a moralistic widow, I can say, and a guardian to Lydia. Mrs. Malprove is the chief comic character in the play. And she plays an important role because we know the very important character Malprove is very important because Malpropism, the term Malpropism is itself misusing of words. Malpropism in literature means misusing of words that sounds like the words. So that the name of the character Malprove is itself is very comic. That is why it also creates comic atmosphere in this. And Lydia has two other suitors, the people who suit us. Bob Eckers is a country gentleman, and another gentleman, Sir Lucius O'Trigger, Irish gentleman. These two gentlemen are also trying to get the love, to win the favor of Lydia. So Lucius pays Lucy, Lucy is a maid servant. Lucius, this Irish gentleman, gives money to the maid Lucy to carry love notes between him and Lydia. So Lucius was trying to win the favor of Lydia. Lucy is swindling him. Yes, in fact, Delia is actually Mrs. Malprove's other person. As the play opens, Sir Anthony arrives suddenly in Bath. He has arranged a marriage for Jock, but Jock says he is in love. He is already in love with a girl. They quarrel violently, but Jock soon learns through the gossip of Lucy and the fact that marriage arranged by Sir Anthony is in fact with Lydia. At first he had a quarrel with father. I don't want to get married with another girl because I fall in love with Lydia. But later he came to know that his father fixed the marriage with Lydia only. He makes a great show of submission to his father and is presented to Lydia with Miss Malprove's blessing. Jock confides to Lydia that he is posing as Sir Anthony's son. Yes, and she annoys Mrs. Malprove by loudly professing her eternal devotion to Beverly while reject Jock absolute. Because Lydia loves the poor soldier, not the rich Jock. After looking at the poor soldier, she falls in love. But here, finally, this Jock reveals the truth. And on the other side, Jock's friend, Falkland, we have seen the character Falkland. He is in love with Julia. But at the same time, he suffers from jealous suspicion. Yes, he is constantly fretting himself about her fidelity. And Falkland and Julia quarrel foolishly. Also a major list, rivals. Who are rivals? Why the rival is coming? It is comic one, the rivals. The rivalry between the two lovers. The rivalry between for simple things. because of misunderstanding, because of disguised nature, reality versus false things, the rivalry. That is why the title itself rivals. One, rivalry between hero and a heroine, Lydia versus Jock. Another rivalry between Falkland versus Julia. They are lovers, but they quarrel foolishly, making elaborate and high-flown speeches about true love. One side, Falkland is giving speech about love. Another side, Julia is giving satiristic speech on the love. Because it is sentimental, it provokes, it makes us to look at the romantic drama of the historical period. And another character, Bob Eckers tells Sir Lucius, who is another man, is courting the lady of Eckers. Sir Lucius immediately declares that Bob Eckers must challenge Beverly to a duel and kill him. They all think that Beverly is different, this captain is different, but both are same. Eckers goes along and writes out a challenge note despite his own rather more pacifist feelings and the profound of misgivings of his servant David. Yes. Yeah. Lucius leaves, Jock arrives, and Bob Eckert tells him or his intent. Finally, Jock agrees to deliver the note to Beverly, but declines to be Bob Ecker's second. Yes. And Mrs. Malprop, who is widow, again presents Jock to Lydia, but this time with Sir Anthony present, telling Jock's pose as Beverly. Lydia is enraged by the puncturing of her romantic dreams and Jock contemplations. Yes, like this, the entire play goes with lot of funny and the lot of interesting things. That is why the title, The Rivals, is appropriate title given by the writer. Now you can look at the summary given in the text. Page number 130, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4 and Act 5. I will tell you Act 1 and Act 5 only, because all the things you can have a lot of understanding after reading it. Just you go through this. I have presented the entire summary and the entire malpropism. Malprop is character basically talking about malpropism. Now can you read it out? Page number 131. Only 2-3 paragraphs. Add Jock's servant. Anyone of you? Jack's servant.
Jack's servant reveals much of the plot. Jack is at birth in the gaze of insane Beverly because he is wooing Miss Lydia Languish, a lady of very singular taste, who likes him better as a half-pay ensign than she knew he was son and heir of Sir Anthony Absolute. Lydia, who reads a lot of popular novels, wants a purely romantic love affair. She is enthralled with the idea of eloping with a poor soldier in spite of the objections of her guardian, Mrs. Malprop. Lydia has two other suitors, Bob Eckert, a country gentleman, and Sir Lucius O'Trigger, a combative Irish gentleman. Sir Lucius pays Lucy to carry love notes between him and Lydia, who uses the name Delia. but Lucy is swindling him. Celia is actually Mrs. Malprop. After Lydia's return with books from the library, Julia enters, and they discuss their respective love affairs. At the moment, Lydia and Beverly are in the middle of a lover's quarrel that Lydia has contrived. Julia has problems of quite a different kind with Falkland, who suffers from jealous suspicion. He is constantly fretting himself about her fidelity. He is afraid that, as he once saved her life, her love may be very grateful for him. Falkland and Julia quarrel making elaborate and high-flown speeches about true love that satirize the romantic dramas of the period. Mrs. Malprop and Sir Anthony Absolute then discuss a match between Lydia and Captain Absolute. Mrs. Malprop tried before to arrange a match for Lydia with Cobb Excel, but Lydia refused. She intends to be equally stubborn about any other choice. The fact that the suggested suitor is an eminently eligible young man makes him automatically unacceptable. Lucy is left soliloquizing at the end of the act. She has been a go-between, but has tricked her client. She did not deliver Acre's letter, and she has delivered Sir Lucy. She thinks he is writing to Lydia, but he has been delivering letters to Mrs. Malprop, who therefore thinks that Sir Lucius is in love with her.
Right. This is much present in this work. It's comic and atmosphere, just the lovers' understandings and misunderstandings, small rivals between the lovers, not that much of importance. Just the rivals is a sentimental and a comic thing, and it tries to the writer through this work tries to show the mentality of the people of the times. That is why this is the best example for comedy of manners, and this work has been written in the light of comedy of manners. We know comedy of manners is a literary movement that was invented by William Congreve. Now we look at the text, you may not find that much of importance or content, but understanding of the concept of comedy of manners gives you an elaborative idea of this time. Now we move to the next text, that is our last work in this. What is the next text that we have? What is the next text, please tell me? Are you with me?
She stoops to conquer.
Yes, sir.
Yes, she stoops to conquer. This is a very non-important work. In this, the rivals' themes, just I will give the themes, the rival themes, Sheridan and his world. This is one theme. Of course, I will send this material to you. False identities and artifice. This is another theme. Language and pretension. How language is malappropriate. This is another theme. And the role of women. This is another theme. In this, through this, we will find this courtship and generational conflict. This is another theme. Yes. These are some of the important themes of the rivals. Now we move to She Stoops to Conquer by Oliver Goldsmith. We know Oliver Goldsmith was an important personality in literature, born in London, and he was not only a essayist but also novelist, poet, playwright, and he graduated from Dublin Trinity College. Trinity College is much famous for the writers, and he worked as a writer for some time, and he had good friends. He had good friends with artistic and literary luminaries: Samuel Johnson, James Boswell, Joshua Reynolds, and Edmund Burke. All are literary legendaries of that time. That friendship made him popular, and because of their friendship, he was able to produce the important works of this type. Goldsmith is author of essay collection. Water. Tank is filled. Goldsmith is author of the essay collection, The Citizens of the World, 1762, The Vicar of Wakefield, 1766, Good Natured Man, Sea Stoops to Conquer, 1773, and the poetic collections known as Traveller, Prospect of Society, An Elegy on the Death of a Mad Dog, The Deserted Village, a poem. These are some of the important works of Goldsmith. Yes, the most popular works, I can say. Sea Stoops to Conquer. In this we'll find a lot of characters. As usual, first we look at the characters. Then it is easy to us to identify the central thing, and it is useful to you to have an overview, to get an overview of the work. Now you can take the course book, open the course book to look at the characters of the play. Yes, Sea Stoops to Conquer.
Page number 150.
Page number 150, we have some of the important characters. Charles Marlowe, George Hastings, and Tony Lumpkin, and Mr. Hardcastle, and Dorothy Hardcastle, Miss Kate Hardcastle, Miss Constance Neville, Sir Charles Marlowe. These are important things, important characters of this work. Now, you can look at Sir Charles Marlowe. Can you read it once? Who is Charles Marlowe? Marlowe is central male character. Open the text and read it out.
Marlowe is the central male character. He is a promising young man who comes to the country to woo the Hardcastle's pretty daughter, Kate. His only drawback is that he is extremely shy around refined young ladies, although he is completely at ease with women of humble birth and working class status. He is a pivotal character in the play, used Goldsmith to satirize England's preoccupation with class distinctions. However, Marlowe's redeeming qualities make him a likable character, and the audience tends to root for him when he becomes the victim of a practical joke resulting in mix-ups and mistaken identities. A well-educated man, bred a scholar, Marlowe is brash and rude to Mr. Hardcastle, whom Marlowe believes to be an innkeeper. Because Marlowe's rudeness is comic, the audience is likely not to dislike him for it. Marlowe is sophisticated and has traveled the world. Around lower class women, Marlowe is a lecherous rogue, but around those of an upper class card, he is a nervous, bumbling fool. Thus, his interview with Kate exploits the man's fears and convinces Kate to alter her persona drastically to make a relationship with a man possible. The character of Charles Marlowe is very similar to the description of Goldsmith himself, as he too acted sheepishly around women of a higher class than himself, and amongst creatures of another stamp, acted with the most confidence.
Yes, Marlowe is the central male character and a promising young man who comes to the country to woo pretty daughter. Hardcastle's pretty daughter, Cutty. His only drawback is also introducing his character, that he is extremely shy around refined young ladies, although he is completely at ease with women of humble birth and a working class status. Yes, he is pivotal character in the play, used Goldsmith to satirize England's preoccupation with class distinctions. By understanding Marlowe's character, you can understand aristocratic things, yes, and who believes and who is like a lover to meet Katte at Hardcastle. And this is enough to understand Marlowe's character. Now we move to the second character, George Hastings. He is a close friend of Charles Marlowe. not Marlowe, Charles Marlowe, and the admiral of Constantinople. Charles Marlowe is other character, father of Marlowe. Charles Marlowe is father of Sir Charles Marlowe, is father of Marlowe. Of course, we have two different characters. It's okay, it's okay. He's a close friend of Charles Marlowe and the admiral of Miss Constance Neville. Yeah, can you read it?
While Marlowe is busy with Kate, Hastings is busy with Constance. Hastings hatches a plan to elope with Constance and receives the help of Tony, who wants to erase Constance from his life. Hastings is also an educated man who cares deeply about Constance with the intention of fleeing to France with her. However, the young woman makes it clear that she can't leave without her jewels, which are guarded by Mrs. Hardcastle. Thus, the pair and Tony collaborate to get hold of the jewels. When Hastings realizes the Hardcastle house isn't an inn, he decides not to tell Marlowe, who would thus leave the premises immediately.
As a close friend of Charles Marlowe, the admiral of Miss Constance Neville. Yes, like one of the other important characters of this. See, you cannot find much importance in these characters because the period was like that. Simply we can know the comedy of manners to the character. You don't expect much from these characters. Yes, this was the story. It was written to identify the norms and the things of the contemporary England society. And you cannot find any specialty. Simply, you can have the lifestyle of autocratic sections of the society. That is why don't expect much from the characters. Then Tony Lumpkin. Tony is the son of
Mrs. Hardcastle by her first husband. He is a fat, ale-drinking young man who has little ambition except to play practical jokes and visit the local tavern whenever he has a mind. When Tony comes of age, he will receive £1,500 a year. His mother hopes to marry him to her niece, Constance Neville, who is in line to inherit a casket of jewels from her uncle. Tony and Miss Neville despise each other. Tony thus goes to great effort to help her and Hastings in their plans to leave the country. He cannot reject the impending marriage with Neville because he believes he is not of age. Tony takes an interest in horses, bed bouncer, and especially the ale house, where he joyfully sings with members of the lower classes. It is Tony's initial deception of Marlowe for a joke which sets up the plot.
Yes, Tony's character as a son of Mrs. Hardcastle by her first husband. That means getting more than one husband is a common thing in those days, and you cannot find any importance. Of this thing, and simply these are like a wasting of time. But we have a syllabus, that's why we must look at this. Charles Marlowe, the central male character, who has set out to court the young attractive Tate Hale-Hasil, a well-educated man, bred a scholar. Marlowe is brash and rude to Mrs. Hardcastle, owner of Liberty Hall and all. Then George Hastings, friend of Charles Marlowe and the admirer of Miss Constance. Tony Lumpkin, son of Mrs. Hardcastle and stepson to Mrs. Hardcastle. Mr. Hardcastle, the father of Kate, and Mr. Hardcastle, wife to Hardcastle, and Miss Kate Hardcastle, daughter to Hardcastle, Miss Constance Neville, niece of Mrs. Hardcastle, Sir Charles Marlowe, a minor character and father of Charles Marlowe. These are some of the important characters which we find will read out the characters again, and if you get these names, and it is Charles Marlowe, George Hastings, Tony Hardcastle, and Miss Kate Hardcastle, Mr. Hardcastle, Mrs. Hardcastle, and their daughter, Miss Kate. Miss Kate, yes, in fact, and Charles Marlowe, the central character, is loving Miss Kate. That is very important. Miss Constance Neville, niece to Mrs. Hardcastle, and Charles Marlowe, father of Charles Marlowe, Charles Marlowe and Charles Marlowe. We have original characters, Father Charles Marlowe. Here we have one more Father Charles Marlowe, that is Sir Charles Marlowe. Sir Charles Marlowe is father, Charles Marlowe is son. This is an understanding of the characterization. Yes, if you have this understanding, and it is easy to us to have another things like it is easy to us to look at the summary. Now we can understand the summary, central summary of the work. I have given you the important characters: Sir Charles Marlowe, father; Marlowe, his son; Hardcastle, Hastings, and also Tony Lumpkin; Mr. Hardcastle, Mrs. Hardcastle, Kate Hardcastle. These are important characters which we have spoken now. Now, just let me tell you the background of the text. Why? See, why this text, "She Stoops to Conquer," has a lot of importance. It was first produced in London in the year 1773, and it became very successful work. And it was reputed to have created an applause that was, it was like very important things. The writer's popularity was spread throughout the literary world. Yes, and it was created unseen success in the London theatre. Yes, because it was a play, we know, it created unseen success, and later it had traveled to the entire European continent and come to the United States also. That was the greatness of this play. Yes, and Goldsmith's success as a writer can be attributed with this success. Yes, and this play published with subtitles as "She Stoops to Conquer," or sometimes "The Mistakes of a Night." It has another name, "The Mistake of a Night" also. Yes, see, some critics compare this work as William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. A Midsummer Night's Dream, like "Mistakes of a Night." And now "She Stoops to Conquer." And when you look at the central summary of the story of the play, it was written in 5 acts, and it was a comedy. Simply I can say it was 5-act comic play, which has prologue and epilogue. Yes, it has prologue and epilogue. We know prologue and epilogue means. It was first formed in 1773 in London Theatre. In the prologue, it begins with Mr. Woodward. Mr. Woodward was companion and a contemporary to Goldsmith, Oliver Goldsmith. Yes, and Coming to the play, as I told you, it was discussed in 5 acts, Act 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Yes, see, usually dramas were discussed in 5 acts. In this Act 1 begins with character of Mr. Hardcastle. Mr. Hardcastle character, yes, and how he has chosen a husband for his daughter Kate. Kate is a young girl, heroine. Yes, he has chosen a young husband. He has chosen a beautiful, handsome husband for his daughter Kate. Yes, Kate's husband to be is a reserved man of good looks. And of course, we know the son of Mr. Hardcastle's old friend, Sir Charles Marlowe. The entire scene, Act 1, was talking about the introductory part, in which we will see the parents of the heroine. They were searching their discussions about her personal taste, interest, and their jokes, how they play the jokes. Even Tony Lumpkin, we know Tony Lumpkin is stepson of Hardcastle's, and they were talking about the perfect match to their daughter. Yes, taking coffee and having relaxed atmosphere, enjoying the things. The introductory part, Act 1, talks about the introductory part of the work. Then Act 2 begins with Hardcastle and he is expecting a visit to his future son-in-law's house, that is Marlowe's house. Yes, Hardcastle was making plan to visit Marlowe's house in Act 2, and he tells the servants that they must behave like the servants of a gentleman. Yes, he gives the warnings. See, mannerisms, because the play was written as part of comedy of use and how Hastings introduces Marlowe to both Kate Hardcastles. Yes, and in this Act 2 only we will find the mindset of the central character, that is heroine. And again Act 3 opens the discussion. Kate and her father discusses Marlowe's thoughts and also their properties and also their physical things, physical beauty, how they want to get ready for the family parties and all. You do not find much seriousness or much serious things in the work. That is why I am telling you, it is like comedy of manners. Through this we find just time pass activities of the London society. In those days, London society was named for its autocracy and its autocracy and its appearance. That is why when you look at page number 148 in our course book, you will find some of the interesting themes based on their marriage and funny affairs. You can see this textbook in page number 148, you will have appearances and reality. All that glitters is not gold. How the comedy of manners, comedy of this work depends on confusion, that is, appearances versus reality. Yes, misperceptions, misunderstandings play an important role in the human conversations in those days. The second theme is truth and falsehood. How falsehood attracts the people easily, how truth waits. The writer Goldsmith uses falsehood to reveal the truth. Yes. Writer itself believes in falsehood in order to highlight the truth. The third one, class. Class is, yes, what is the class? Higher class society. How the higher class societies work, how they look at the lower class people in those days. Class perspective can be noted through this work. Then money. Number 4, major theme is number 4, money. Yes, through this story we can find that money, yes, how money as an important factor now and then. Of course we know, at present we know all the things related to money and all. Here also several characters whose lives are largely defined by lack of access. Yes, lack of access to the money. And we will see money, how it plays an important role in this. And now behavior, number 5. Behavior is also one of the important themes in this work. Goldsmith's, through his satirical expressions, through his blended the autocratic and aristocratic things to the realistic things. The behavior of the characters make us funny, make us very interesting in this work. Yes, we will also see that money and behavior both are very important. Throughout the play, characters, especially Marlowe character, assume they understand someone's behavior when what truly guides them is the assumption of our character's class. Then moderation. Another important theme is moderation. Yes. Throughout the play, conflict between refined attitudes of the town and a simple behavior of the country. Always we find the moderation. Yes. The moderation between urban life and the rural life. How the characters that come from the urban life and also some of the characters which have their roots in the rural life, countryside life. Then contradictions. Yes, contradictions also very important in this work. Most characters in the play want others to be simple to understand. This in many ways mirrors the expectations of the audience of Goldsmith wishes to know. Really, we do not know, do not understand the contradictions and we do not character. The character, surfacely they appear something different, their inner thoughts are different. So that Goldsmith was successful in creating or in narrating the things of the times of comedy of manners. How William Congreve made the literature by his assumption of comedy of manners. Similarly, Goldsmith also, through this work, he highlighted the importance of comedy of manners. In that way, we will see the comedy of manners, especially the characters Charles Marlowe and George Hastings and also Cate. These are 3 important characters in which we find lot of information, not only information, sarcastic expression of the author. So with this we can conclude the central theme and the major concerns of She Stoops to Conquer by Oliver Goldsmith. How, why she stoops to conquer, what she wants to conquer. The title itself is very interesting and evocative. It brings many discussions to us. It makes us to know a lot of things of the contemporary London society. London society was not free from the frivolities, not free from these ideological concerns. Through this text, the writer wants to highlight the characters, the young characters, their behavior. Of course, now we can see these behaviors are the testimonial behaviors in Indian society, but we are talking about 18th century London society. 1773 means the last quarter of the 18th century. Yes. Through this novel or sequel, in bringing the 18th century to us in order to propagate his theory, romantic drama, sentimental comedy, and also comedy of manners. With this, we conclude this discussion on the She Stoops to Conquer. Hope you understand the major themes and concerns. If you go through the characters, try to go through the characters, try to go through the central summary so that you will have a lot of understanding on the text. If you have any doubt, just after reading the text, you can send me or you can contact through the number, the WhatsApp number which you have been given to you as part of the process. Right? Okay? Students, are you sleeping?
Okay, sir.
No, sir.
These works are like that only. Is that no? You do not find much emotional things in this. All are love stories. I mean, since she was much famous for exchanging love things and love letters in England, 18th century England. That is why you do not find new. Sometimes I have skipped the information regarding the proposals and all. It won't be good and it won't be nice. Sometimes if just you go through the text, you can understand a lot of information regarding 18th century London society. How the characters are very funny in matchmaking, in exchanging love and trying for a single woman. The triangle love. Yes, triangle love is much common in 18th century works. So that, if you go through this, you can understand the characters and all. Hope you understand the concept of this. I do not know.
Yes,
Have you
sir.
understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Simply saying yes or really understood something.
Understood, sir.
Right. Good. Dear students, we'll meet again and read the text, and any doubts or any clarification, just you can contact. Okay, wish you all the best and read the text carefully. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.